But going back to what they were thinking, I just feel like they're Terry. I'm sure he's hit his limit with seeing Mahomes, figuring he's hit his limit. It's time to win, time to get past it. This was the year to do it, as you and I have talked about. It was set up perfectly. I don't care about the injuries on defense. I don't want to hear it. You've done fine against the top offenses every week. Um, it was there. The game was there. We can get into some things that we both thought were a little whatever as far as changing the game. But as far as recovering from this, Tyler, this is going to take time. Here's how I'll just spin it to you quick, and then we'll get into the game. Can you imagine right now, just even wanting to play a regular season game if you're the Buffalo Bills next season? Like, think about how pointless the regular season has become. Like, you are judged on the postseason. You know you're
Right.
going to get there. You have Josh Allen. The regulars, if you don't get to the playoffs, you're getting fired. I'm saying I'm serious. Like
Yeah.
the playoffs need to be, and we've talked about this. This is how it was in New Orleans. The playoffs need to be, I mean, the regular season needs to be your tune up and make sure you're hot and healthy heading into the playoffs. They were neither this year. I don't care how many games they won in a row. You and I talked about it. They weren't hot. They weren't playing great on either. You know what I mean? You could see it on both sides of the ball. They didn't crush the Chargers with Easton Stick. They didn't crush Zappy. They got by. They got the win that they needed to win to get in the playoffs, but they weren't hot and healthy. And it showed, and we'll get into this because I want to talk a lot about the skill position players that let Josh Allen down and the Bills. But anyway, point being, it's time now to figure a way to get hot and healthy next season for the playoffs because this is it. The expectations are Super Bowl or bust every year as long as he's the quarterback.
I mean, you can already hear the spin. You can already hear the sell job out of One Bill's drive on, oh, we were 6-6 and made this triumphant run to the 44% club that makes the AFC postseason, right? They joined the 44 percenters. Um, but it's all by design. It's all by the NFL's design for teams to ebb and flow and up and down. I mean, I'm thinking last year with the Packers, they're 4-8. Then they kind of get into the easier chunk of their schedule, and their one win at Lambeau against the Lions from getting in. It's going to be interesting to see how the messaging is set because 2 years ago you had the insanity of 13 seconds at Arrowhead, all time classic. These two teams will be playing each other for the next 3 decades. All that stuff from Romo and Nance. Oh my God, Tony Romo. And then last year, I mean, you have this surreal incident of a player's heart stopping on the field. I'll never forget that show we did after that. It was unforgettable. I was there in Cincinnati. It affected the team in a profound way. And you give Sean McDermott all the credit in the world. I think we all do. That to guide a team through an unprecedented situation, feather in the cap for sure. But that was kind of, another baked in excuse, I think, internally that they, privately were saying amongst each other, yeah, the heads weren't really right into that Cincinnati game. Okay. It's injuries now? Like the Chiefs had players dropping one by one in the game. Like Willie Gay, McDuffie. See, I mean, one by one on defense, and their defense figured it out. If we'll get into the nuts and bolts, like that first half, yeah, the Chiefs are getting rolled. But Steve Spagnuolo, what a job! The adjustments that he made to clamp down on that running game as it progressed and get the stops they needed to get. Like they figured shit out on defense, Kansas City. So I guess injuries is the excuse to Terry Pagula and ownership if you're trying to explain this season and is the sell job this triumphant overcoming of adversity, that adversity being your head coach's own training camp speech a few years ago being made public, telling players they need to communicate like the 9/11 terrorists, which I only bring that up because that is the anecdote that the team itself isolated and decided to focus on in that press conference. It was isolating that, making that what they wanted to address. And all of a sudden, that becomes discussed before Von Miller playing against the Chiefs amid his disgusting allegations. Well before that, so is that how it spun? Like, oh, we're 6-6 and we overcame all this adversity. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like my point is, and we talked about what this game could do to this team. It's to me, it's looking like a team that is maxed out with this coach. 7 years in, 5 straight crushing playoff defeats, wasting a Hall of Fame talent in Josh Allen.